Making the headlines tonight. The King of Cambodia sends a letter addressed to U.S. President Joe Biden on the occasion of the 246th anniversary of the independence of the United States of America. The special envoy of the ASEAN chair concludes his second visit to Myanmar, where he met and held talks with several senior government officials, representatives from 7 different ethnic armed organizations and 7 different political parties. An EasyJet flight heading from London to Menorca is escorted to its destination by a Spanish fighter jet after a British teenager on board made a bomb threat on social media. Emergency vehicles and cordon tapes are still seen outside Copenhagen's Fields Mall after 3 people were killed and several more wounded in a shooting at the shopping center. This is the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Darshana Gaushan. The King of Cambodia, His Majesty King Norodom Sihamoni, has sent a letter addressed to U.S. President Joe Biden on the occasion of the 246th anniversary of the independence of the United States of America. In the letter dated 2nd July 2022, His Majesty stated that Cambodia attaches great importance to the relations with the United States of America, and he hopes the long-standing ties of friendship and cooperation between Cambodia and the U.S. can be further strengthened through a commitment to continue working together for the well-being of the people from both countries. The King concluded his letter by expressing his best wishes for President Biden's health and happiness, and for the growing prosperity of all his compatriots. The Cambodian Minister of Foreign Affairs and Special Envoy of the ASEAN Chair on Myanmar, Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sakhonn, concluded his second visit to the Republic of the Union of Myanmar, where he met and held talks with several senior government officials, representatives from 7 different ethnic armed organizations and 7 different political parties, and attended a handover ceremony of COVID-19 vaccines as part of the delivery of humanitarian assistance to Myanmar. EAC News reporter Deka Nin has further details.
Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sakhonn conducted his visit to Myanmar from the 30th of June to the 2nd of July in his capacity as the Special Envoy of the ASEAN Chair on Myanmar. According to a press release issued on Monday, 4th of July, this working visit aimed to move forward the progress in the implementation of the ASEAN 5-point consensus, notably on the matter of expediting the delivery of humanitarian assistance and a joint vaccination program, and engendering a conducive environment for an inclusive political dialogue. The ASEAN Special Envoy began his visit by attending the handover ceremony of the Chinese government's contribution of 2 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines to ASEAN for Myanmar on the 30th of June, which was presented by the Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Myanmar, Chen Hai. He later paid a courtesy call to Senior General Min Aung Hlaing and exchanged views on situational updates and challenges in implementing the ASEAN 5-point consensus, while following up on the 3 previous meetings the Senior General had with Prime Minister Hun Sen and the outcomes of the consultative meeting on ASEAN humanitarian assistance to Myanmar. The Senior General spoke of his willingness to engage directly in the national ceasefire agreement and reassured the Special Envoy of his full support to fulfilling the letter's mandate. Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sakhonn also took the opportunity to urge the State Administrative Council to explore ways to work with the UN Secretary General Special Envoy to further enhance synergy between the work of ASEAN and the UN. When meeting with Myanmar Foreign Minister Wang Maung-Win, the Deputy Prime Minister recalled 2 recent communications on death sentence and the request to return Daw Aung San Suu Kyi into house detention. The Special Envoy also reiterated his call for the cessation of violence and requested the SAC to support a safe, timely, and impartial delivery of humanitarian assistance to hard-to-reach areas, the release of prisoners, and for meeting with several non-SAC individuals, including Daw Aung San Suu Kyi and Daw Suu Suu Lwin. On the last 2 days of his visit, Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sakhonn held talks with representatives of 7 ethnic armed groups who have signed the National Ceasefire Agreement with the SAC and representatives of 7 political parties who won seats at the 2020 election. While meeting with the ethnic armed groups, he emphasized how Cambodia brought about today's peace, stability, and development through Prime Minister Hun Sen's win-win policy. The ethnic armed groups commended Cambodia's experience on national reconciliation and the win-win policy and said they appreciated the good office of the Special Envoy in trying to help bring Myanmar back to normalcy. While meeting with representatives of the 7 political parties, the Deputy Prime Minister was briefed on the development of political humanitarian situation on the ground and shared great concern on the severe impact of violence on civilians, including the burning of villages without clear responsible organizations. They also shared a common desire for peace and non-violence. The special envoy in turn expressed his commitment to help expediting the delivery of humanitarian assistance to create a conducive environment for political dialogue to start. Deputy Prime Minister Prat Sakhonn paid his first visit to the Republic of Union of Myanmar from the 21st to 23rd of March, at which time he said that it was a visit to learn about the current situation in Myanmar, learn about stakeholder positions, and listen to the requests of the Myanmar side. Nekanin, EAC News.
The first Deputy Chairman of the Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority, Senior Minister Lee Tut, chaired a meeting with the Army Command, the National Center for Peacekeeping Forces, and the Cambodian Mine Action Center to set goals and priorities for the planning and distribution of clearing forces under the first phase of the Samdek Tekcho project for mine action to provide safe land and create smiles. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has the story.
The meeting was held on Monday, the 4th of July, and Senior Minister Lee Tut confirmed that the parties had agreed with the Army Command to clear 8 local municipals areas and declare them as demining areas. The NPMEC works to clear the land in Tabong Khmom province, declaring it as demining area. The CMAC is responsible for clearing the area in Takao and Kampot provinces, declaring them as mine-free provinces. CMAC will also clear the area in Chankal district, Alda Menchay province, and declare it as demining district using joint forces with the Army Command in order to exchange experiences between the two operators. The Senior Minister further stated that the plan will continue to be implemented in accordance with the procedures of demining work and the Cambodian Mine Action Standards, requiring the technical team to inspect and assess the situation of minefields to raise the budget and deploying clearing forces accordingly. The process implementing demining areas and selecting priority areas includes a non-technical survey with the operator, planning the deployment of the non-technical research team with the approval of the mine authority, deploying the non-technical research team as instructed by the mine authority, identifying clearance areas, analysing clearing capacity and operators, inspecting mine plantations, preparing the budget, submitting the information to demining authorities, inspecting and providing clearance to projects to operators, conducting quality control checks, and then finally handing over the cleared land with mine-free declaration. In Cambodia, 22 capitals and provinces continue to be affected by mines, excluding cluster mutations of other explosion remnants of the war, with a total area of over 710,000 square metres still waiting to be cleared. The campaign comes just days after the Prime Minister Hun Sen ordered the Minister of Economic to prepare a national budget to form a demining package in order to expedite demining efforts. Speaking on National Fish Day in Bente Menchay province on Friday morning, the 1st of July, Prime Minister Hun said this is the decision to ease the difficulties of waiting for help to the donors and Cambodians' plans to clear all mines by 2025 and launch a mine-free declaration campaign. At the same time, the Prime Minister also urged the private sector to join the government in clearing mines in Cambodia. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
The Secretary of State of the Ministry of Health and Chairperson of the Commission for COVID-19 Vaccination, Dr. Ao Van Dien, has reminded all civil servants to perform their duties and get vaccinated, as instructed by the Royal Government's sub-decree, as the momentum to go and get vaccinated does not yet seem to be very strong. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
Dr. Ao Van Dien has said that some civil servants who are due to be vaccinated have not yet received their vaccine. She said, "I would like to remind all civil servants, in accordance with the Royal Government sub-decree, that they're obligatory to get vaccinated against COVID-19 in Cambodia. So let's get everyone vaccinated against COVID-19. Pursuant to the sub-decree dated on 11th of April 2021, an obligation to receive the COVID-19 vaccine, civil servants who are required to be vaccinated, including public servants and members of the armed forces of all kinds, in which the executive branch, elected citizens, public servants in the legislature, judges, prosecutors and public officials in the judiciary. The obligation to vaccine does not apply to individuals who are unable to receive the COVID-19 vaccine for health reasons, and those who have a certificate from the competent health official exempting them from vaccination. The sub-decree also states that the types of vaccination administered to the procedure of the vaccination against COVID-19 must be in line with the guidelines of the Ministry of Health. In case of a non-compliance with the sub-decree, There is a warning and a guidance from the relevant institution given to the person who is avoiding vaccination, which requires that person to perform the obligation and receive the COVID-19 vaccine. In case of a continued evasion of this obligation, the relevant institution may decide to impose other disciplinary actions in accordance with the laws and regulations in force. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
The director of the Department of Tourism Product Development, Chuk Chum No, has said that the future vision for Mondulkiri includes the government transforming the province into a new major tourist destination, which is expected to attract about 900,000 international tourists and more than 2 million domestic tourists per year. EAC News reporter Dekanin has more.
Speaking at the launch of the Master Plan for Mondulkiri Tourism Development, Chuk Chum No said that the inclusion of Mondulkiri as an international ecotourism province will make the province a fourth economic pole after Phnom Penh, the coastal areas, and Siem Reap, and integrates Mondulkiri as a key location along with other parts of the country and the region. He added that in order for the province to become a new leading tourist destination, 6 strategic directions will be divided into 121 activities and 16 priority projects, and 28 relevant ministries and institutions will be responsible for the implementation. These 6 strategic directions allow only the investment and development of environmentally conscious tourism activities in the 5 wildlife sanctuaries, encouraging the development of ecotourism and ecotourism activities linked to indigenous cultures and urban planning. This includes setting up San Monorom as the multi-purpose tourism group connecting Aoreang district with the development of Mondulkiri Airport, which can be developed as satellite area connected to San Monorom city. The urban area of Koh Nyek district also has the potential to be developed as a tourist destination in the future, and the development is more extensive in the conservation area and integrated along the border, which allows for the development of integrated resorts. The Minister of Tourism, Taung Kon, has said that this master plan will be an important strategic document to promote the development of tourism in Mondulkiri province as well as the whole northeastern region, especially contributing to making the northeastern region a fourth economic pole of Cambodia related to agro-industry and mineral resources. He said that Mondulkiri province also has great potential for agricultural development, especially the development of flower and vegetable farms to supply domestic demand as well as for export to other countries, while this potential has not yet been fully developed. In addition, the approval of the construction of Mondulkiri Airport will attract tourists and make the connection from Siem Reap, Phnom Penh, and the coast to Mondulkiri and the whole northeastern region much easier. He added, in the future, Mondulkiri Airport could be used as a regional airport connecting Mondulkiri to neighboring tourist destinations, including Thailand, Vietnam, and Laos, as well as major ASEAN cities and other countries like Japan, Korea, Australia, and the Middle East, taking between only 5 to 7 hours of travel. Mondulkiri province is a strong and conducive location for development. As a high-level ecotourism destination, it will be able to attract more tourists in the future, create jobs, increase income, and improve the lives of local people. The 5 protected areas and wildlife sanctuaries in Mondulkiri also have great potential. With an area of more than 1 million hectares, it is a great natural resource for ecotourism development and is similar to the Ongrang Valley of the southern Cardamom Mountains, southwest of the country, and is considered the last major tropical forest of Southeast Asia. Dekanin, EAC News.
If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
An EasyJet flight heading from London to the Spanish holiday island of Menorca on Sunday, 3rd July, was escorted to its destination by a Spanish fighter jet after a British teenager on board made a bomb threat on social media, police said on Monday, 4th July.
The 18-year-old who was traveling with 5 friends spent the night in jail and is pending a court hearing, said a spokesman for Spain's Civil Guard Police. Footage of the incident showed an F-18 jet flying close to the distinctive orange wingtips of the commercial airline's A319 aircraft, which typically carries between 120 and 150 passengers. The fighter jet is seen waggling its wing, a gesture known in aviation as indicating the other pilot should follow him. Military planes usually intercept civilian aircraft when ground air traffic control lose contact with them or there is a perceived threat to the aircraft or passengers either because of a bomb warning, suspicious object, or feared terrorist activity. An EasyJet spokesman confirmed the flight was escorted by a military aircraft and there was a delayed disembarking due to precautionary security check, but did not give details as to the cause.
Emergency vehicles and cordon tapes were still seen outside Copenhagen's Fields Mall in the early hours of Monday, 4th July, after 3 people were killed and several more were wounded in a shooting at the shopping center in Copenhagen.
The man accused of killing 3 people in a shooting in Danish shopping mall was ordered on Monday to be held in closed psychiatric ward, and authorities said they did not suspect the crime to be an act of terrorism. The 22-year-old Danish male accused of opening fire on Sunday afternoon on shoppers in Fields Mall, a few kilometres south of Copenhagen, was arrested and charged with manslaughter and intent to kill. He was remanded in custody for 24 days and will undergo psychiatric evaluation, authorities said. The court has barred publication of his name, which is common criminal cases in Denmark. The incident shocked Denmark in the end of the otherwise festive week, in which hosted the first 3 stages of the Tour de France cycle race, and hundreds of thousands of cheering Danes took in the streets across the country. The shooter killed 2 17-year-olds, a 47-year-old. 7 people were wounded with gunshots, 4 with serious injuries, including a 16-year-old girl. 20 people received other injuries fleeing the scene. The incident could not be viewed as an act of terror based on the current evidence, Chief Police Inspector Søren Thomasen told reporters, adding there was no indication that the suspect acted towards with others. The attack took place and many young people were visiting the mall ahead of the concert due to be held nearby by British singer Harry Styles. The concert was cancelled. Danish gun laws are strict and all firearms, with the exception of some hunting rifles, require a licence issued by the police. The shooter did not have such a licence.
And finally, realestate.com.kh Expo returned on 2nd and 3rd of July at the Premier Center Sensok. Some of the biggest names and brands in the Cambodian market were gathering for the premier property show of the year. Scores of people came to see the biggest real estate expo in Cambodia.
After a 2-year absence due to COVID-19, realestate.com.kh held their biggest expo for the year. The expo brought up the country's most well-known developers, projectors, agencies, banks, insurance providers, telecom companies, and many more other services all in one place. Visitors were happy to be able to come to one place and look at the new developments and get some bargains. EAC News went up to the expo to explore an upcoming prime real estate properties and home services offered to Cambodia. Tom O'Sullivan, CEO of realestate.com.kh, also spared some of his time to explain to us about the expo and the future of the real estate market for Cambodia. realestateagent.com.kh had brought together all the leading properties, developers, real estate agents, bank, insurance companies in one place. They also organised some guest speakers to explain the market.
What we've done is brought together all the leading property developers, real estate agencies, banks, insurance companies together all in one place for people to come and look at multiple developments and really be able to make an assessment of what they might be looking to buy in the market. In combination, we also have industry-leading seminars across the 2 days. So we had the real estate and pawn shop broker in this morning, as well as the National Bank of Cambodia, the Credit Bureau and CBRE. This afternoon will bring sort of more of the projects, so Bore Bospa and Prince Real Estate launching their new Bore, as well as some other sort of leading local agencies talking about the market. And then we'll also have a lot of seminars tomorrow.
EAC News asked Tom about the concept of the expo and what does realestate.com.kh do for the real estate industry and what kind of people are coming.
Absolutely, it is an extension of our business. So realestate.com.kh is a platform business, and we bring together all the property in one place in a convenient place online. But part of our job, or part of what we're trying to do, is move the Cambodian market from offline to online. So by doing these expos, it's a representation of our business, but it's a physical event. All the developers offer some of the best deals all year round at these events, and they also come with the banks and come with the insurance. So not only can you sort of work out whether, what properties you like, but you can go next door and speak to the bank and work out whether you can afford the property or not. It's definitely picked up this year, but definitely buyers need to be more cautious than before. Or I think buyers are more educated than before, right? Between 2015 and 2019, it seemed certainly in the condominium space, it seemed like developers could just build whatever they wanted, do some fancy marketing, and it was going to sell to someone. It's different if you're targeting local Cambodians. Payment terms need to be a bit more flexible. And then in the Bore space, the middle-class Cambodian dream is to buy a property in a Bore, right? However, there is a lot more competition and a lot more choice for buyers now, because a lot of the traditional condominium developers are going into the Bore market. So we're seeing competition among developers sort of heat up, but there's still huge demand for that local sort of Bore landed property.
Also discussed with Tom was about the future growing in general in Cambodia.
I think it's also got huge upside in this market at the moment, and by Aeon Mall opening Aeon 3, which is going to be much bigger than Aeon 2, and companies like Chipmong launching some of these big projects, it's only attracting more multinational brands into the market. So it's something to look forward to for us local consumers and expats and Cambodians that live here, but it also helps promote the country. Because when someone from overseas travels to Cambodia and sees, this brand's here and that brand's here and that brand's here, that's sort of part of the due diligence for a buyer. So whilst it's probably been one of the parts of the market that's hurt the most during COVID, I think it's one of the parts of the market that's got the most upside for sure.
Overall, organisers were very happy with the turnout over the last 2 days in the expo and looking forward to the next event. CBRE Managing Director and guest speaker at the expo, Lawrence Lennon, from one of the biggest real estates in Southeast Asia, explained what is happening with real estate in Cambodia to EAC News. Lawrence Lennon mentioned that the expo was well organised and had a great turnout. He felt Cambodia is going forward in real estate and was safe for foreigners to buy and invest in Cambodia.
It is a very rapidly changing market. So there are certain areas of the market, for instance, the office or the retail segment, which are transforming very rapidly. Over the past 4 years, during the pandemic itself, Siem Reap is probably one of the most interesting destinations, and that's heavily down to the organic, sort of quite self-sustaining growth activity that we see there, both from a hospitality standpoint, but increasingly so from a second home standpoint. So actually, if you ask me where one of the most interesting spots, it's Siem Reap, and without a doubt, that comes down to Angkor Wat, without a doubt. Secondly, we see Sihanoukville developing, the government's massively getting behind Sihanoukville from a development perspective. They're looking to create a multi-purpose special economic zone. So
we also spoke to Chia Museng, Head of Digital Business for WeWatch, on how the Expo benefits his company and other companies at the Expo, and what WeWatch brings to the Expo and the Cambodian people. WeWatch is happy with the Expo is back. It gives chance for the Cambodian people to be able to come to one place and see all the things they need to buy properties and things for their home, like our product. WeWatch has invested and built in the first and only cloud-native TV with the latest cloud technologies, aiming to take the whole TV experience to a new era, the era of digital, Web3, blockchain, the era leading towards metaverse. WeWatch also helps to support Cambodian government target of the TV digitalisation by 2025. We are a Cambodian company. We develop local talents and support local business. Overall, organisers were very happy with the turnout over the last 2 days in the Expo and looking forward to the next event.
Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. For more breaking news and updates, you can check out our website, eacnews.asia, or search EAC News on Telegram, Smart TV, or at your favorite app store. More from the EAC News team tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We will see you then.